Hello there. Welcome to the full moon in Leo. They call it a snow moon. And if you're living in Canada, especially if you're here in Quebec, we sure know it's a snow moon. Um, we have a record snowfall plus ice. The drifts are a few feet high. It's quite something. The icicles are sometimes 6 or 7 feet long, hanging off of buildings. So I definitely feel the snow moon thing. And, we're in the toque just to keep a little warmer through this whole thing. So, this is the full moon that will possibly be your diva moment of the year. It's not always a bad thing. The Leo moon is literally the internalized feminine diva, actress, queen energy. She's strong, she's noble, she can be very generous, she can be very dynamic, she can be like a mama bear to people. Not like a Cancer, like, oh, you cut your hand, sweetie. No, she's more like, you're my family, I will defend and protect you, kind of mama bear. Now, the Leo moon also loves self-expression, theater, drama, acting, music, passion, flair. Leo moons will often hide that depending on what other sign they are. If you get a very conservative sign or a conservative rising sign, but you have a Leo moon, you're going to get somebody where if you step into their home, all of a sudden, maybe you see like they play amazing jazz music at home. I don't know. Maybe they've got like dramatic furniture and curtains. Maybe they have a secret love of the theater, or they like to sing when no one's watching, because Leo is born to perform and shine, but it's in the moon sign. The moon is like your internal emotions, your needs. So what that means is like, and it's why it's so interesting is because Leo is ruled by the sun, which shines, but now it's the moon, so it's shining in the dark instead. So if any of you out there have a Leo moon, you might feel like, do I get my chance to shine, or where is my place to shine? Am I allowed to shine? Because it's the moon. So where you will shine is actually, you either find an environment where it feels okay for you to shine, because it's hard for you to bring that out in the world, or you do it only to people that know you well or in private, behind the scenes. Instead of on the stage, maybe you're the head costumier behind the stage, and you shine there, even though people don't know your face and your name. So a Leo moon for all of us could bring that up. And that's why I say maybe this is your annual moment, diva moment, where you say, hello, excuse me, I'm here and I'm going to shine. Notice me. I'm going to express myself. Possibly you might have that. Otherwise, maybe you're dealing with this feeling as well. Is it easy for you to find a place in the sun to shine, receive the attention and accolades or appreciation that you deserve? Now, this can all sound very diva, very narcissistic. And there will be some of that when there's Leo moons, because if you suppress your need to express yourself, or if you find it's hard to take your place, and there's not a balance of like when you get your turn or attention and when other people do, then sometimes it's going to distort it, and then you're going to come out seeming like it's all about you, even if you're not a narcissist, because of the suppression that goes on with having a sun shoved into the closet. How's it going to happen? Well, the sun's still going to shine in the closet. It's just going to make a crack of light through the door. And then you open the door and you get to know this person who has this Leo moon, or, you open the door in general right now, and the crack of light becomes like this blinding sun that you didn't know was there. So there's sort of a feeling of like a big reveal. And that big reveal might be, you might have a tantrum, you might feel reactive, you might just say no to something. You might suddenly burst out into song or show people your talents that you normally never do. And they're like, we didn't know you were like this. You might have a certain glow, a certain sexiness, a certain magnetism or charm. If it's done in a quieter way, you still shine, but without calling all this attention. And then other people will have outright demanding, sort of quote Karen type of moments in a Leo moon. So the best way to use the full moon in Leo is to ask yourself, like, do I feel that I have a place where I'm allowed to shine and I'm received well and seen well and treated well? Leos want to be treated with dignity. So if you feel like you're closeted, suppressed, eclipsed by something or someone or some situation, or you're doing it to yourself, this is your chance to try to peel the curtain away and say, no, take a look. This is what I do. This is who I am. And this is what I'm saying. And I have a right to be heard and shine and seen. So as we know, those moments can play out in a beautiful way, and they can play out in a really dramatic, not easy way. So it's all going to be about, how much have you been hiding yourself? How much have you been feeling unappreciated or suppressed? Whether this bursts out like a big tantrum or a blurt or a awkward thing, or whether it's a general gracious, graceful moment where you let yourself, you know what, why should I hide that I'm good at this? I'll just do it. And all of a sudden people are like, wow, this is awesome. You really did that well. And you just say, yeah, thanks. Receive it. Drink it in. Let your brain chemistry start to change. Like, yeah, I am appreciated. I'm not invisible. People do like me and what I'm doing. So negotiating that is a big part of a Leo moon. So let's take a look at our chart and see what's going on with the planets. Now, this is the 5th of 7 moons that falls on the same degree. So cool. Very significant. So 5 out of 7 full moons falling on 16 degrees. Now, for those of you that do tarot, you know that corresponds to the Tower card. For those of you that are born in the middle of the month, especially if you are Scorpio, Leo, Taurus, or Aquarius. Why? Because Uranus is staying put around 15, 16 degrees, Taurus for a while. And it means that all those full moons are making an aspect because it's right at 15, 16. So our full moon right now is making a square with that Uranus. Sometimes it's going to make a trine and it's nicer, but these 5 out of 7 full moons are making aspects to that Uranus. And Uranus, as we've been saying all over the last while, in Taurus is all about breaking up all of this fixed, stuck energy, or breaking down our old ideas of what security is, what our financial system looks like, what our values are. And we all feel this. We can all feel the chaos upon us. Who knows when? Like, you could say it started with the pandemic, with 2020. certainly that put us into fear, different kind of chaos. But I think if we're honest, and if I listen to a lot of people and my own gut feeling, it wasn't until we started coming out and stepping out in the world and trying to negotiate this fear plus functioning again, maybe in 2021, that you started to feel like there's something off, something's really different, something's more chaotic. This world, the world isn't what it was. Now that we've had 2022 with the tiger ripping through so many things, changing so many things, I find it's much more apparent, the feeling of chaos and things dismantling, things top down crumbling, which astrologers, we've all been saying this for such a long time with Pluto and Capricorn. This is what it is. Pluto in Capricorn, and we're at 28 degrees. It's going to head into Aquarius for the first time in March, just for a little bit, and then it's going to come back into Capricorn by June. So we get a little glimpse this spring of what the new world might start to be about. And what it's going to be about with Pluto and Aquarius is the power shifts from being elite, 1% top down. The power is going back to the people. And this means uprising and revolution and dismantling of power structures, including governments, monarchies, banks. And the thing is, right now we're at this critical time, these last few degrees of Capricorn, and it's going to go into Aquarius, and it's going back into Capricorn, and it's going to go into Aquarius again. So we're in this period of time over the next couple of years with Uranus and Taurus up until 2026, giving us these upheavals. And then we've got this back and forth shift between, we're going to, as we're already seeing, you know, the 1%, the rich, the powerful, the bank, whatever, trying to conglomerate and segregate themselves and disempowering the people, taking away more and more and more and more. And then we're going to see at some point, I would say in this next couple of years, the tipping point has to be reached where people say enough, and they start to revolt and rebel, and things start to really actually dismantle. And that we come out of this into a brand new world at some point. I have a hard time saying, like, what year will we sort of know what the new world is going to look like? But my gut feeling, honestly, is that 2026 feels like a very significant year. 2024 has been predicted as a very significant year as well. I feel 2026. I've been feeling that for about 10 or 15 years now. I've always had that message of 2026. I don't know exactly what'll play out, and part of me sort of doesn't want to start predicting that stuff, because even if I could, even if I can get a glimmer of it, my feeling is that things are going to change so much that when something really breaks your paradigm, it's very hard to see it for all of us, because we have to also live through this change of paradigm before we can even see it. It's sort of like somebody telling you, you know, back in 1975, you're going to be working on this little metal device with keys and a very tiny computer you hold in your hand, and that's going to be your whole world. You're just going to be staring at it all day. I mean, we would have said, no, that's crazy. I don't even know what that is. Right? Like, look at the huge paradigm shift we've gone through with internet and smartphones and all the things that we do that are automated now. And we've done it. We've adapted, but it's been huge. And my feeling is that whatever is coming in the next few years, with Pluto bouncing between Aquarius and Capricorn, and the shifting of power, you know, and climate change, all kinds of things upon us, it's going to be just as revolutionary as pre-internet to what we're living now. There's going to be all kinds of things that we have to jump and adapt to. And my best advice, honestly, is to really just try to center yourself and focus on the positive side of the transformation, but it's asking a lot of us. It's asking a lot of energy from all of us to shift and change, because you probably have felt it, especially over the last few months in Christmas time, very, very challenging time over the winter, but you've probably been feeling that you're being asked to shed and shed and shed, you know, things that you thought were secure aren't, things you thought you liked aren't, people, relationships that you thought were one way aren't, or you've outgrown them. You might have a whole new idea of what role you want to play. You might be saying, screw this, I'm not doing that anymore. I've done this all my life. Like we're all in some way shedding an old way. And if you haven't been feeling pressure to do it, well, you're fortunate. But at some point, we all will be. There'll be events greater than ourselves that force us to. So let's take a look at this particular chart. Now, again, it's cast for New York, for the Eastern time zone, because that's where I live. So I feel it's more honest to do it in my own zone. Excuse me, some nice tea. All right. So it's a Cancer rising, even though it's a Leo moon. So that makes it even more interesting, because Cancer rules the moon, Leo rules the sun, and yet the moon is in the sign of the sun and the moon mutual reception kind of thing, if you see what I mean. Normally the sun is happy in Leo, and now the moon is there. Cancer rising would be like the sign the side of you show out to the world, which is more like shining, but it's ruled by the moon, so it's more introverted. It's more, so we've got this whole thing going on of introvert, extrovert. How much do I share myself? How vulnerable am I? How much emotion do I show? You know, do I hold it in? Do I express it? Do I sing from the rooftops, or do I, you know, write a song, or do I share it only with my nearest and dearest, or who's receptive to me? We're all going to be a little sensitive to that. The other thing that strikes me right away about this chart is that, and I normally don't start with Mars, but it's right there in the 12th house in Gemini with all these aspects. So it's aspecting the moon in a sextile, which is a minor aspect, but still. And then it's hitting all these things. So Mars is sextile to Chiron and Jupiter. So expansion and all, but also like expanding where you feel wounded. Sense of justice or lack of justice. It's also squaring Venus. Venus square Mars. What I want and how I go about getting it are at odds. Venus and Pisces, I want things to just be nice and peaceful and smooth and emotional and intuitive. And Mars and Gemini is like, I'm going to talk all about this and that and this. Oh, look, who's that over there? Oh my goodness, I know that person. And Pisces, Venus is just like, would you just chill out? Would you just like relax? Like, we don't need to think about so many things. You can just like roll with it. Okay. You don't need to overthink it so much. And Mars and Gemini is like, yeah, but if that, then this, and this is cool. And I want to try that. And oh, look, squirrel, you know, kind of ADD all over the place, Mars and Gemini. Venus and Pisces is like, oh, would you just relax? I just wanted to have a chill evening. Do we have to know, like, do you have to tell me about every person everybody that directed and created this shot and how they filmed it and where it was? Can we just watch the movie? Venus and Pisces, Mars and Gemini, but it's so cool, you know, because that was shot in Italy, but they're trying to make it look like it was France, you know, in a different era. And I've been to that building, and these Pisces would just shut up. Let's watch the movie. So they're both mutable signs, but this would be the dialogue that you would have between those planets. So maybe that's gonna play out in your life, that kind of thing too. Then we've got Mars also aspecting Saturn and the Sun, which are pretty close together. So I have to bring up Mars because Mars is just like pivotal in this chart. And it's in the 12th house, which means all of that. Look at that. That's cool. And I know this and that, and all the possibilities. And look at the people I know, and speaking fast, and just mind is going crazy. And like, oh, I've got like 25 projects. Oh, right. And I should do that one because I said I would. And oh, right. I forgot to call him. Okay. Okay. I'll do that tomorrow. Okay. No, there's something else first. Oh, right. Oh, there's a party. Oh, okay. Mars and Gemini. Ah, okay. And it's in the 12th house, which means it's in the house that is hidden and suppressed. And this means you're going to see a lot more dreams, possibly restless dreams, dreams of like ideas or lots of people that walk through your mind in your dreams. You're going to feel very restless. You might feel very anxious. You might have a lot of like, there might be a lot of anxiety because it's in the 12th house. Like a lot of the time it can come up in your dreams. I know I've definitely been dreaming more lately, but also can play out as just like some sort of background noise, like this pulsing side of the Gemini Mars that we've just illustrated is in the unconscious. Like the hamster is going all day long. And there might be a part of you that just feels like this is crazy making energy, like it's driving you nuts. So you might feel some internal pressure. It might help you to go out and sing or scream or underwater or something, or like do some sports where you can, get some of this restlessness out of your system. So what is the moon aspecting? Oh, you probably heard my kitty there. My little kitty. Where are you? Yeah, hi. Hi. That's Inca. So the moon is aspecting Uranus, squaring off, as we said. Now, that's two fixed signs. So you're going to have, with that Leo moon that finally says, I'm going to take my place in the sun. I'm going to shine. I'm not going to let people put me down, eclipse me, cut me off, tell me my art sucks. I'm not going to allow that. I have a right to say and show who I am and be appreciated for it. It's a healthy Leo moon, but it's got a lot of things opposing it. So this Mars and Gemini is helping it a bit. So that could help you feed the fire for your creative expression. It could help you feed the fire for just talking about it and sharing it, writing it down. However, when it's squaring off with Uranus and the North Node, you're going to get resistance for your shining. People who are not used to you being that way might give you some pushback. Oh, well, that dream's not very practical. Some sort of like, Taurus doesn't really like all of that showiness. They might call you, imply that you're vain. They might imply that you're just needy when you know that you're just sharing something. Taurus doesn't like those big expressions usually. So you might feel that, like, and that might feel sort of like a shaming, depending on how far that goes. Either you feel like people are sort of raining on your idea or raining on your vulnerability, might be minor, could feel like, wow, I'm not going to bother sharing that with that person again if it's really extreme. So that's sort of in the air too. And then you've got the Sun Saturn aspect opposing the moon too. So that again, some people are going to really get triggered by you expressing yourself. Got to warn you. So if this is the case, you just want to choose, you just want to make sure that you are conscious before you do it. Like let's say, I don't know, maybe you've written an amazing poem and whatever inspired it was a person that you know. Maybe that person catches wind or says, oh my God, I think that's about me. How dare you post that in public? Even though you didn't mention their name and nobody would know. That might be sort of a Sun Saturn kind of moment. Like, what are you doing? Like doing something in public, right? Saturn and Sun in Aquarius. No way. We don't do things in public. You know, we don't show emotions to anybody, let alone in public. And the Leo moon is like, I'm gonna, you know, if I cry in the middle of the movie and people see me, I don't care because I'm doesn't matter. Oh, no, no, no. Saturn, Sun, Aquarius, stop it. Just stop it. It's not very, no, it's not appropriate. Don't do that. So you might encounter some of that too. Again, depends on your goal with it, because sometimes that's exactly what it takes to stimulate some change. So it's up to you. Now, where it does have a little bit of help, thank goodness, like we said, Mars for some talking and inspiration, but it also has help up here from Chiron and Jupiter. So this is also telling me, like, and it's an Aries in fire. You know, whatever you express yourself about is very likely to be something where you feel like you've had a wound or where you feel there's an injustice. And we all know that when you're a truth teller and you expose injustices, people do not like it. But other people do. Other people will align and support you. And other people will, no, what is she doing? How could he say that? We have to shut that down. And others are like, damn, good, somebody finally said it, you know? So this is really up to you. How important is it to you? You know, how private or how public do you need this this shining moment to be? You can still express yourself to a couple of confidants. You don't need to put it on a public Facebook post, you know? It's up to you. But just expect some pushback. Now, other things going on, so lots of minor aspects, like we mentioned. Mars is doing a positive aspect also to this wound and justice side with Jupiter, Chiron. We've also got Uranus with a minor supportive aspect there, the sextile to Venus. So, but that would support the whole, like, you know, chill out, calm down, stop showing off, stop your ego, you know. There'll be some support in the air for people. Just, oh, that's gauche, you know, it's too much. Somebody went over the top with this Leo moon moment. So you might see that. Pluto over here is 6 degrees, so it's conjunct in Capricorn. Mercury, Pluto in Capricorn, very powerful language, very severe and serious and changing, like life changing, or very, you know, the kind of words that can move things to go forward. So again, careful how you use your words. They're powerful. The more you're aware how powerful your words are, especially if you're connecting to deep, raw emotions, your words are going to carry more power. So if you choose them well and you're trying to affect some sort of transformation for yourself or your community or whatever, Mercury, Pluto packs a punch, and it's making a good aspect to Uranus. So it could also be helpful. But again, connecting to the earth sign, connecting to the earth signs with Capricorn and Taurus, even though it's Pluto and Uranus, well, it still might be powerful, heavy-handed language like, oh, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. You know, after Leo just pours open its heart, Leo moon, and it says, oh, well, I'm sorry you took it that way. Stuff like that. Just practical, dry, powerful, cut it down, shut it down. You could see that too. So I'm going to be curious on the news if anything like this pops up. You know, if somebody exposes something, somebody blurts out at an award show, I don't know, something happens at, I don't know, even the Super Bowl's coming up, isn't it? Yeah, Super Bowl is coming up a couple days with the full moon. You know, anyway, there can be something where something comes out and people try to shut her down. And this is all about what this larger cycle is about too, of the people taking the power back and the trickle down, the top down stuff dismantling. And they're gonna, you know, no one's gonna give away their power just like, oh, well, yeah, it's time we give it back to the people. Here you go. No, it has to literally crumble. It has to be done by reorganizing grassroots or revolutions, rebellions. And we're going to, we're going to see a lot of things probably still continue to get larger and conglomerate and be more and more oppressive before we see the tipping point. Because you sort of wonder, how long is it bloody taking people to have a tipping point? We've gone through so much, but there will be more. We have to reach that, where we have to take back our own power and reform our own societies. It's certainly going to happen around stuff like healthcare. There'll be such a need. It'll happen around food security. It'll happen around rent, and housing prices. Like, there's so many things. And don't get scared. We've already been in it. It's intensified over the last year for sure. Certainly the last 6-7 months with all the prices that are exploding and doubling, it seems, everywhere. And it's going to continue. Like I said, it'll be about 2 years before we really see Pluto and Aquarius fully land there. I'm pretty sure it's 2026. I really, you know what? I'm just going to check because I'm tired. I should have checked the exact dates for you before I come on a video. So I'm going to do it now. So Pluto in Aquarius. So it first is going to hit us March 23rd to June 11th. So like I said, this is our first taste of what power with the people is going to look like. We'll see the beginnings of something this spring. It just won't fully manifest. It won't resolve. It won't make it. It's the first little hint of what's to come. Then it's going to go back into Capricorn. And okay, the journey through Aquarius officially begins January 21st, 2024. Alrighty. I thought there was another retrograde. So January 21st, we have a year where we're going to see a little preview this spring, and then, back to the way it was. And then it bursts on the scene. This is why we've said 2024 is going to be a big year. Again, this is my own intuition for years. I'm feeling 2026 is a huge year. And I do want to reassure you, if I'm pretty good at this stuff, but at world predictions, I don't always try to do them. However, this year has been on my mind so long that I wanted to share it because I think we're ready. Some of us are ready to think about that. I feel that after 2026, we were going to be in a completely new era. Your life will not look like it does now. You won't feel like you do now. And it doesn't mean it's bad. It does not mean it's bad. We're already seeing so many things dismantled with the beginning of COVID, but it's also more honest. It's been more honest. A lot of the people that you don't share values with, when you look at it now, fallouts that happen because of different opinions on COVID. When you look back, can you see that some of your values were not in alignment with this person all along? Because a lot of relationships got stronger. A lot of people are a lot closer to some people because it has shown us deeply where our values lie. That's Uranus and Taurus as well. Reforming and challenging your value system. And we've got events to come that are going to challenge those values still. And so Aquarius is all about finding your tribe. And there'll be more and more tribes. There'll be more people who find each other based on their similar values, and the bonding with your own tribe will probably be quite a bit stronger and closer, or more in alignment than we had before, when everything was just this top down, I don't have any power kind of model. You know, scrambling to climb the ladder all the time, scrambling to match up to the rich or the top or the 1% or the luxury presented to us. And in the meantime, you know, not really taking a look at who's around us or what we want or if that's the best way to live. So it is hard. It's definitely hard what we're going through. But if you are able to really see this and align with the new and allow yourself to adapt and be honest with yourself, it can be an extremely powerful time of change, of good change too. All right, so let's take a look at our tarot. All right. I have cleaned the screen so many times here in my camera, and I still feel like I look fuzzy. So I apologize if the quality of this laptop camera. I'm going to have my normal desktop and setup back for the next new moon, because I just came back from 2 months of traveling, and I came back to a smaller place that I have downsized into, and I'm still in the middle of setting it up and simplifying it. And for me, that's been my big transformation that I put myself through, because I want to be, for myself, I didn't want to have so much stuff and so much clutter, because it was weighing me down, how many things I had going on and how much stuff I had, that I was always just micromanaging. And I said to myself, no, I don't want my life to be about my stuff all the time, or walking into a room and feeling like 4 projects are hanging there that I'm not doing. So I forced myself to downsize, and I'm still in it, and it's hard, but it's good too, because it's alleviating and letting go of so much, and it's aligning more clearly what I do want to work on. And it's aligned me with all, you know, these opportunities I've been talking about that have come up for more books, for more teaching online, different alliances, travel, you know. So I'm making room for the new by not having as much clutter in the way. But yeah, I'm a Cancer. It's hard. I like my stuff. It's hard. Even what you see behind me, there's way too much stuff. I love it all. I'm going to keep it, but I'm going to pack some in storage just so it doesn't feel so stuffed full of everything. Oh my God. I don't know if any of you are going through this, but if you are, please write to me. All right, let's take a look at our tarot for this full moon. All right, so the first card we have here is the Ten of Wands, oppression. So some of you definitely might be feeling this way. This is, you know, this card means you feel like you're really at the end of your rope. You don't have Saturn and Sagittarius. You don't feel you've got any freedom. You feel very restricted. You feel put upon. You feel like a slave or a servant, you know? You feel like you're being squeezed so tight that you can't even move anymore. And this card means if you feel like that in any situation, you have to get out. The Ten of Wands is like, if you don't get out, you're going to get sick or something bad will happen. You've got to get out of that situation that's making you feel that way, if you are. That could be anything, a job, a contract, a relationship, an apartment, a house, a car, lease, whatever's making you feel like, I've been choked for too long. You got to get out. Now we've got our Prince of Discs that Crawley did not like. He's an indulgent, lazy, oh, you do it for me kind of, oh, bring me my food, kind of whiny, indulgent, doesn't want to get up off his butt and do something kind of guy. And you can see he's like, how are you going to drive a chariot when you're sitting off to the side and it's unbalanced, and you're hoping that this this bull, the Taurus, will do it for you, but you're sort of half there, half looking, half there. So ask yourself if there's anyone around you that seems sort of half-assed, honestly. Somebody around you who's not pulling their weight, who you can't rely on, somebody who's like ho-hum, blah, you know, just uninspired, doesn't like, feels like everything's owed to them. This is a person that you might want to take a second look at, some boundaries. The Hangman, well, boy, Hangman is like a long, slow, steady sacrifice. So some of you might be in situations that match those first two cards that you can't really get out of right now. There might be a deeper spiritual lesson while you're going through that situation. There might be a legitimate sacrifice that you're making in order to stick around that person or that situation. This is a tricky one. I can't tell you right now without knowing your individual situation, whether you should get out or stick it out, whether it's for your growth or whether it's self-destructive. That's a really big question, that. So that might be on your mind. You know, if I continue with this job, even though I'm not feeling good, but there's still something valuable to be learned if I go through it, if I stick with it for one more year, you know, but is it making you ill? Is it really worth whatever you think you'll get out of it? I don't know. Relationship too. If it's a relationship with this guy we mentioned, well, maybe you're going to be drawing those boundary lines and giving chances for a while, or maybe you have already for a while before it's like, okay, enough. You're ready to move forward with a decision. But this is a tricky situation you might be in. Next card is the King of Wands, which is great because he's got strength and will, and he will go in and get it done. And he doesn't wait. You know, he can be impatient sometimes, but he's usually pretty dynamic. And I find sort of a breath of fresh air after the other guy. So this could be you getting your own will back, your own fire. This could also be someone else that you need help from or ask to assist you, or part of the process, another person who could intervene. But this is someone who has the strength to intervene and to help the situation. So if it's a work thing, maybe this is your boss who intervenes, a mediator. You know, if you're in anything where you need an outside person, look for a dynamic person who's very assertive to help you, because that other energy is so sticky. So even if this guy is like coming in fast and this is what we're going to do, and you might be like, that's what's needed, because that other situation is just so swampy and thick and sticky. So you need somebody like this. Boy, 10 of Swords, geez. Okay, whatever you're in, it's really time to get out, my friends. 2 10s, the ruin and the oppression. It's time to get out. If you are not happy with something, it is time to step away. My God, I can't stress that enough. If it doesn't matter what area of your life, you have to be honest with yourself. If you are utterly sick of something, if you can't get up in the morning to go to work, it is time. You've got to decide to look for a new job. You don't have to quit today. You got to pay your bills, but you have to start looking. If you're not happy in your marriage, if you're not happy with a family member, and it's really, whatever the dynamic, it's not working, okay? This is 2 times really shitty cards. I shouldn't be swearing, eh? Anyway, really nasty cards. And there is, like we said, King of Wands is there to help. Then we've got 7 of Wands. This means standing up for yourself. Valor, standing up for your boundaries. Mars and Leo. Again, it's Leo. It's Leo. It's saying, I have a right to be treated fairly. I have a right to feel good. I have a right to feel like I'm a valid, special person too here. If you've been feeling oppressed, suppressed, depressed, You've got to put your foot down. You got to put your boundaries down. You got to stand up for yourself. This card is always about that. And we're always scared or nervous to do it, but it's really what's necessary. All right, our next card, oh, good, is the happiness card. Right after the boundaries is the happiness. Stand up for yourself and you're going to find your world opens. People will support you. Lots of people will understand you, why you did it, what you did. Often we feel very isolated before we set boundaries with difficult situations or leave difficult situations because you've just been taking it on and absorbing it and not telling anyone and feeling smaller and smaller and tired and depressed. And when you start to go, I can't do this, I can't take it, I've got to make a change. And then sometimes people are very mixed how they react to you saying that, right? But once you get to the point where it's like, I'm no longer going to do this, I am sure that I need to step away, I'm sure I don't want to be here anymore, or whatever it is, then usually the universe aligns and you get people going, oh yeah, I had the same thing as you, I totally agree with you, do it. Or you get people saying, I'll help you, why did you put up with that crap for so long? And all of a sudden your life opens up and there's happiness, good people, support. Lovely, lovely. Next card. Oh my God, the Tower. Well, your change is going to be monumental. Whatever you've been doing, whatever you've been allowing, it's been too bloody long. The Tower card is coming. It's been going on way too long, my friend. So whatever you've got to step away or change or do, it's been way overdue. The Tower is just, it's upheaval, but it's transformation and it's liberating yourself. I mean, after the happiness card in the Tower, it's like, you've got to do this for your own sake to liberate yourself. Final card is the Eon or the Judgment card, which means you step out and you say, I have assessed the situation as best I can from as many angles as I can. I'm thinking clearly and healthy, and this is my assessment. This is what I call it to be. And you step out and you claim it and you say, who knows, maybe it was, you know what? Well, in my case, I'm going to say my former landlord was abusing our rights the entire time. There, I said it on a camera. I was not clear about that. I didn't want to see this person in that light. I couldn't accept that somewhere I was living was with someone who didn't care to fix things and let it get so decrepit and didn't care when we asked him to respect our rights. Just didn't care. So I assessed it. I know the law. I spoke to other neighbors. I've lived other situations that were not that, you know, I assessed it and now I step out and I say, hey, this was wrong. And so in this case, I called a building inspector and I took action. That's my little slice of life for you. That's the Tower. The Tower, you know, I'm liberated from the place. I went through an upset to get out of it, but the Tower is on him as well. He's got to fix this place for the future tenants, and I'm following up to make sure. I'll do my bit to make sure he does. Now, the last card, even though it's an extra card than usual, because it's hard to leave it off on that deciding card. The last card here is the Three of Wands, which is virtue. You will have arrived at taking these actions, going through some adversity to step out on your own behalf. You will have arrived at a healthy sense of self, the Sun in Aries and the virtue card, where you'll have done the right thing. You'll have done the right thing on an ethical, karmic, spiritual level. But yeah, you're going to go through some crap to do it. But you have to admit to yourself that something has been long, long, long overdue. And now you've got to do it. And it will actually rebalance a lot of things in your life and the people who are affected by it. So let's take a look at full moon messages for your sign. And I need some tea because when you've got the heaters cranked this high, it's a little dry. I boiled cinnamon stick, put a bit of lemon. Very nice. All right, let's take a look at messages for your full moon. Let's just ask, where do you need to take a stand in your life? Because this is really, I mean, we talked about shining, yeah, but the cards seem to say it's deeper than just, am I shining? It's more about, am I being true enough to myself, or am I, in some way, like really for your mental health or your emotional health, you need to step up. That's what I'm getting. So let's just ask that. Where do I need to stand up for myself? All right, just spreading my cards here. Aries, where do you need to stand up for yourself? Okay, the Seven of Swords. This card usually means walking away and moving on. It can be a literal move, moving house, moving job. It says futility. So that would say, where do you need to step up or stand up for yourself? It might be that you're in a situation that is futile and you've got to just let it go and drop it and walk away from the situation versus fighting it, which isn't typically Aries' style. Usually Aries will fight. So I wonder whether there's something going on for you where you can recognize, like, and ask yourself, is this worth what it'll take out of me to fight this? Is this a battle I could even possibly win? Or is it futile? It's a tough question. But it would be, where do you stand up for yourself would be, do I fight or do I walk away? You'll walk away anyway, but do you just walk away without a word? Just cut it. Or do you fight? Taurus, where do you stand up for yourself? And you've got the oppression card. So, yeah, everything we said in the earlier reading. If you anywhere where you feel like your freedom is being squeezed, your self-expression is being cut off for too long. Anything that makes you feel claustrophobic, restricted, defeated, like you don't have a choice or don't have any freedom. Anywhere you're putting up with any type of abuse, you've got to let go and walk away from that very clearly. Like your health depends on it at this point. Gemini, where do you stand up for yourself? Okay, for you, it's about love or relationships, disappointments. I don't know whether you've communicated your disappointments to somebody that you care about or that you're wanting to be closer to, your partner, your kids, your friends. I don't get a heavy duty feeling about that. It feels sort of like minor disappointments. But for the health of the relationship, it would be really good if you said them out loud so that you have a chance to have a dialogue with whoever it is and resolve it before it does become like a deeper resentment down the road. So if you're feeling disappointed by something somebody said, if somebody's doing something that triggers you, if you've been carrying around a feeling of like, oh, I wish they would have X or Y or Z, just try to find a good way to talk about it. And it should increase the relationship to be a lot healthier. It's not huge and heavy. Yeah. So that's good for you. Cancers, where do you need to stand up? Oh boy. Wow. Peace. Wow. Wow. Well, you need to either make your peace with certain people, or if it's not possible to make peace with certain people, you need to remove yourself so that you have your peace. That's quite profound. It's the moon in Libra. Yeah, moon in Libra wants to please everybody, but it also wants things to be fair. You might be locked into a dynamic that you feel is unfair, and it's been eroding your peace. If you haven't said to the person or had that discussion about what's unfair, what's bothering you, you might need to have it just to see if they're open. But if you're dealing with people that are, you've tried and communicated, and there's no sense of balance or peace or fairness, or you're the only one pleasing, and then I think you've got to step back and regain your sense of peace of mind. And you will if you step back, because this is a very nice, light, airy feeling. You know, I get a feeling that you can regain your inner balance with um whatever you feel it's time to let go of. You will regain your inner peace quite easily. So that's positive. But it's just hard for Cancers to let go of anything and anyone, isn't it? Yeah. But if you do, just focus on, I deserve to have peace of mind. I deserve to be at peace. And don't allow these battles to go on and on and on and on for years. If you have, yeah. All right, Leos, where do you stand up for yourself? And you've got the Victory card, which is a Leo card. Huh. I don't get a feeling of standing up in terms of like setting the boundaries and walking away and all that stuff for you. I get a feeling more of The Shining. It's going back to that, I'm going to be bold and I'm going to be seen and I'm going to be myself and I'm going to step out there and show my talents, and I'm going to upgrade and I'm going to expand if I want to, you know. Card says victory. Victory. Okay. Which is yeah, Jupiter in Leo. Wow, Jupiter. Like that's the ultimate as far as like shining and self-expression and multiple fires. So Leo, you know, you got to milk this time with your moon and go out there and let people see who you are and just drink it in. Who cares? You know, show off. All right, Virgo, where do you need to take a stand? Oh, you got success. That's interesting. Well, this would be again, not really a need to take a stand. This is more about like being diligent with your work, possibly with your health. Yeah, it's not really a dramatic walking away type of feeling I get at all for you. It's like more of a solidifying your work ethic, your health regimes. Um, Card says success, but it's an earthy card, so it, you know, it's prodigious, it's slow and steady, but you see how much shining there is going on. And look, I always love this card because in the middle, can you see it? Why is this camera so blurry? Anyway, there is in the center of the card, there is a rose and a cross. And that is surrounded by a ring of light. So by being very grounded and practical and keeping things flowing and healthy, there is a lot of healing going on. So if there's any stand to be taken, you might say, ask yourself, you know, what do I need to do for my own healing right now? And trust your gut and allow that to guide you as to what actions that needs to be. You'll get a message. Libra, where do you need to stand up? Well, we've got the Nine of Wands, strength. Sagittarius, you need your freedom too. This is definitely a freedom card, the sun and moon in Sag. You need to move around. You need to travel. You need to feel like your body is free to see other things, to physically move. Because Sag can be sporty, but it's also usually traveling. It's also about higher education and ethics and philosophy. So you need to feel a sense of expansion. So if there's an area of your life to take a stand, it would be to expand your horizons versus if you feel like things are shrink, you know, they're too stagnant, stuck, repetitive, whatever. You need to get out the door more, see new scenery, meet new people, learn new things, and expand your horizons. Scorpio, where do you take a stand? Queen of Wands. Well, if you're the queen, then you will be taking some sort of solid, bold, maybe demanding stance on something that you've had enough of. Otherwise, you could be encountering somebody who will do that with you. Or you might be instrumental with a lady who's like this around you. There's taking a stand. Well, you know, she's a little stronger than just taking a stand. She's impenetrable when she's wants something. So I guess for you, Scorpio, I would say, like, if you're around anybody who's overbearing, or just watch that if you are exiting, leaving, saying no more of X or Y or Z in your life, if you have to not be overly intense or hard-handed about it. You don't need to be as controlling as this. Now, some of you might be in a situation that warrants that. But if you're not, try to do it on the gentler side. That's what I'm getting. You'll have less backlash that way. Whew. Sagittarius, where do you take a stand? Now you get the Princess of Discs. The feeling I get for you is you need more time alone, more time in nature. You need to feel more sunshine, connection to the earth or the trees. You might need to get back to your spiritual practices. You might not be very grounded and you need to do things to help you get grounded. So if there is a situation, person, whatever, like we've been saying in the reading, that you need to set some boundaries with, it, you know, it might just be you with yourself. It would be like a boundary of, I need my walk in the woods. I need my time to just go for a drive. I need, you know, I don't feel very centered when I'm at this place or with this person. So I'm going to pull back and get myself centered. It doesn't feel too dramatic for you. It feels like adjustments that will help keep you more centered. And that should be enough, which is great. But, you know, Leo supports Sag. They're both fire signs, so it shouldn't be as hard as other signs. All right, Capricorn, where do you need to take a stand? And you've got the Eon or the Judgment, as we mentioned. So are you mulling something? Are you not able to decide, finally, this is what I think, this is where I stand, this is what I believe happened, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this the end of the day, the chapter. I'm going to define my own experience. I'm going to validate my own experience and step forward and say, this is what it is. So if you're on that path, then this is what you need to do. So it's taking a stand, is really more internal in this point, in this case, in the sense of you've got to get strong enough in yourself to call something like to it's the judgment card in other cards, which to me doesn't mean, you know, a heavenly judgment on us sinners. It's more, Crowley meant it more as your own personal judgment. You have been there, done that. You know this, let's say this person better than anybody, even if other people don't understand, you know them, and you're saying, this person, my relationship with that person is, and you call it what it is. You know, it could be something with work. It could be something even with your opinions on COVID. You know what? I've done my research. I've thought about things from as many angles. I've talked to as many people as I can. And I'm tired of having this loop in my head. I know where I stand on this, and this is where I stand. You know, it's more that kind of moment. So it's internal clarity. And then you're ready to stand by it and say something if need be. All right, Aquarius, where do you take a stand? We got the Queen of Swords. Well, for her, it's not even a matter of taking a stand. She's usually pretty just cut and dry anyway. If anything, she needs to maybe step back and feel and reflect a little more before she makes those swords come out and just decide. So you could be dealing with someone like that who isn't very reflective and just slashes and, you know, sort of cold about the way they've assessed things. They're missing a whole chunk of the picture. You could be dealing with someone like that. Maybe that's who you need to take a stand with. Someone who's just like, so, yeah, just emotionally cold, overly rational, and sometimes quite anxious, quite controlling. You know, this is like an ice queen. So that might be who you need to adjust things with. Otherwise, if it reflects you in any way, before you make any cuts or slashes to things, you might want to just make sure that you've had a chance to feel it a little bit more, that you're not acting too quickly or coldly about, or, you know, being too rational about the whole thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. And Pisces, where do you take a stand? My goodness, we got all these queens. I think we had all four of them. Oh, three. Anyway, Queen of Discs for you, Pisces. So you've got the Queen of Discs looking off to the horizon, and you've got her little ram in the foreground, sort of like her secretary or guard, staring at us. Like, who are you? Do you get access to her? Do you deserve it? Kind of feeling. So Pisces, maybe you feel that you've encountered somebody who is avoiding you, won't talk. You have to go through some sort of middleman process that's annoying. Pretty annoying. You might need to take a stand with that type of situation. That could mean all kinds of things, like, because this would feel pretty normal for a corporate situation, right? If you need to, I don't know, get an answer from some sort of doctor or government body or something where they're putting you through bureaucracy and you can't get at a direct answer. This could be, if it's someone that you know in an emotional level and they're being that walled off, somebody around you is very unreachable. And that's the person that you would need to adjust things with. So as usual, if you need a personal reading, you can always reach me below the video or go to river.rain.info. I have all my links in the description. I should have said that at the beginning, not the end of the video, but anyway. My priority isn't like self-promotion. That's why maybe that's my Leo moon moment. I need to self-promote a little bit more. Anyway, if you would like a personal reading, or you'd like to join one of my classes, I'm going to have some courses up and running for the springtime. If I'm honest, it'll be the spring. there will be new classes with that are being set up with the London College of Psychic Studies at some point, and there will be courses with the Edgar Cayce Center at some point also in the spring. And I will probably be setting up some of my own courses pretty soon. So if you need to reach me, river-rain.com. All right. Have a happy full moon.